Hello, Al.
Hello.
Thank you
Hello,
so
Flo.
much for coming on. Um, this really just feels like a friendly catch up, but we're just going to stick it on YouTube and see what happens with it, isn't it? This is Elle. She is a author now, which we will touch on, a speaker and a coach, and she has helped hundreds of women in sort of the disordered eating, body dysmorphia, body confidence space. So obviously it seemed like the perfect fit to get her on and chat to us about it. Both Elle and I have experienced disordered eating in the past and body hang-ups and things, and obviously this whole sort of channel is around that, so we will be talking about that predominantly, but also we're going to touch on like burnout, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, they're connected.
Yeah, how have you found that they're connected?
Well, if you are living with disordered eating or like even just like in not just because it can still be like all consuming, but like what I would call dietary chaos, yeah. So like you don't know what to eat, when to eat, you're restricting, then you're binging. Um, you're going to be more prone to burnout because of what you're doing to your body, the stress that you're putting on your body, and usually not fueling yourself enough. And the additional stress that you put under for your body image. And also, if you're not content, if you're never content or satisfied with where your body's at, then that's going to lower your chances of like happiness. And so then if you've got lower levels of happiness or even just like contentment, then again you're going to be more prone to burnout.
I've also found as well, a lot of the girls that I've worked with that have lost their periods, they've often lost their periods because they've
Mm.
locked in on something, whether that's their running or fitness or their food, or like whether that's clean eating, and they've locked in so hard that they then haven't, like, they've switched off all of those signals to their bodies. And then on the flip, that is exactly what happens with burnout in terms of like if we're looking at sort of like career burnout and things like that
Mhm.
as well. What I found is everyone seems to be very bloody driven at the start,
Mhm.
and then they just don't know how to switch that off. Or like there's those stories that you tell yourself about productivity and how resting is like not being productive and it feels lazy and things like that. Have you found that in your work that like everyone sort of has quite similar personality traits?
Yeah, yeah. I think the kind of the locked in piece and the driven piece, um, often what is behind the scenes is like unwanted discomfort that I don't want to feel and I don't want to go there. So instead, I'm just going to keep driving on this thing that makes me feel better, which is usually more like temporary in terms of life. Like it's really hard to be like locked in or this like highly driven person for our entire life without eventually hitting burnout. But I'm not saying that's the case for everyone. Everyone who's driven out there is running away from trauma. But in my experience of working with lots of people and in all my studies, I do think that quite often there is that drive is just to try and avoid something else that is going on in their life. Could just be loneliness or it could be childhood trauma.
I was about to, that would be my next question. What sort of things does people tend to be running from?
How long have you got? Literally anything. Every person is just so different, and every
Okay.
person's experiences, lived experiences, are so different, and how they respond to things and what's coming up for them or not coming up for them. Like their body can be having these feelings, maybe chronic illness or IBS. And that is the body signaling that like something isn't right. And it could just be like psychological stress and suppression from years and years. Or maybe not, maybe just more of a recent breakup that was, I mean,
Yeah.
how many people do you know, right, who break up with somebody and actually they're really struggling with it psychologically, emotionally, and they go all in on something else, right? The gym, their food, and
Yeah. That whole like glow up culture when you do a breakup.
yeah. And then you see them a year later, and because they can't sustain it, because they can't keep it up, it's they've gone back to how they were before, or which you know, it's
Or
okay.
worse,
Like,
they've gone so far down the line, right? Where like they're a completely different person. You don't even
yeah.
recognize them because even their whole habits, like for me, fitness just became my identity. And
Mm.
that's how I dealt with being cheated on and being treated badly. It was like it was that escape.
It's an escapism, yeah. And also, like, we are all human. We all do like external validation. I know some people be like, I don't, but I feel like most people do. And if you were getting external validation from your fitness, you're so fit, because you're so good at this, that's raising your self-worth, raising your self-esteem. So of course you're going to channel it more there. That's where you get your feel good, right?
Yeah, I think I went to a Tony Robbins event, and I'm pretty sure he spoke about this when he said about how so many people, even the people that try to say they don't like external validation, that is their way of trying to get external validation. So, you know, you've got like the guy that drives the Ferrari and you've got the guy that drives the banger. Both are, it is both a status game. It is both saying like a status for external validation. So it's either like, oh, he's coming across as the guy that doesn't care. That's still trying to sort of, I guess,
Yeah.
maintain a status, and it is still a status thing. And 100% with the fitness side of things, that that was me, and I loved that that was me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same with size. Like, if you've always been the small one in your friendship group or in your family, and that's been your identity as the little one, the pocket rocket, like then it can be really scary if your body starts to change as you get older and go through life, because your identity might have always been the skinny one or the little one in your setup.
Yeah, what's your story then?
I got
Buckle
many.
in, guys,
So
buckle in.
I've got many. Some I can't talk about publicly. um, so my story in terms of food and body, right? That's what
Yeah.
I think we're focusing on here.
Yeah, we'll save the other combos for a different
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Um, so my journey is that from a very young age, I was very preoccupied with how I looked. I was very dissatisfied. Like, we're talking age 10 here. I was hyper aware of what other people looked like, their body sizes, what they wore, high comparison levels. Like, I remember going to school at the age of 10. I mean, I'm sure some of this is normal, but like really analyzing what everyone was wearing and that I must wear the same. And, they're bigger than me or they're smaller than me, or, where do I fit here? So it started young. And then essentially, well, it went on for 17 years. And within that time, there was many eating disorders. So um, I had atypical anorexia. I mean, I was still in a very small body, but wasn't so small that the doctors were going to be able to help me. I then had binge eating disorder. I had bulimia. I had orthorexia. Throughout this time, I had body dissatisfaction and at times body dysmorphia, when things were just like really heightened and stressful. And many attempts to like recover, but my recovery always looked like diet culture. Even though I didn't realize that at the time, I was just like, we're going to do this. This is a healthy way to deal with this. And so is this, etc. And eventually hit rock bottom and also had the realization there's only one way out of this. And this is for me to deal with my demons and to deal with my inner child wounds and get to know myself and be my number one cheerleader, instead of trying to push myself constantly to be better, better, better.
That's hard, isn't it? That whole, when you come to the realization of like, oh, I can't keep dancing around this anymore.
No,
That was really hard.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what did
yeah,
that look like, that journey of becoming your best friend?
yeah. I mean, it was kind of
Oh, sorry, cheerleader is what you said, wasn't it? Becoming your
cheerleader. Yeah. I mean, it was a crazy time. I had to double down, right? I mean, when I say I did the work, I did the work. I was every single day. I was sat in my special area of my house. I was writing, I was journaling, like I'm not saying people need to go to this extent, but I was fully committed. And I mean, depending where someone is with disordered eating and eating disorders, there does need to be a level of like quite high commitment to get out of it. It's just not easy. And that's where I was. So in that process of journaling, getting to know myself better, understanding myself, sitting with the discomfort, I then became a cheerleader because I got to like myself, and I found compassion for myself instead of always beating myself up. I also changed a lot. So a lot around me changed. I went through a 11-year breakup because I wasn't the same person after that experience as I was before. I think my friendship circles changed as well. I stopped being a people pleaser. I started putting my boundaries in place. Like so many other things changed. Yes, the food and body got like improved and healed as such, but I was like all these other things that just happened kind of as an effect of that.
And do you find that people pleasing and having no boundaries is also tends to be a particular trait? Because I resonate with your whole story, and I know all the girls that I'm chatting to constantly in my DMs. We're all very similar, and there tends to, we spoke about the driven side of things, but also that people pleasing and not understanding boundaries. That also tends to be so. I was going to say popular, but that's not the right word. It's
Prevalent.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
common, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. So there's quite a big bit of this in my book.
Okay.
So I mean, people pleasing. There's lots of reasons why people please, and often it's come from a younger age, and so again, it's quite kind of dependent on the person's lived experience. But ultimately, like you're looking at fear of rejection, you're looking at fear of abandonment, and so the reason that, well, one of the many reasons that it is attached to people that often have maybe like disordered eating and poor body image as well, is because they usually lack that self-worth and therefore fear of rejection and abandonment, or maybe not just the fear, like that as a lived experience where they have been rejected. And so that's their story. And it is that again the external validation
Yeah.
that at some level, because of society and how we've grown up, we believe that if other people like us, we might like ourselves better. Whereas actually, it's the other way around. We like ourselves better, and other people will probably like us more.
That's such a good point. But then I guess you've also on that journey, like you said about your friends circle changing and like relationships changing, you've got to just trust, I guess, like the universe in that sense, right? In like that it will present you better groups, better people when you start trusting yourself, and you're going to have to let go of those people and habits and things like that for you
Yeah,
to be able to move forward. And that's
yeah.
scary, right?
It is so scary. The whole journey is so scary, right? It is so scary to think that you're going to lose people that sometimes have been in your life for a long time. Um, but it like that spiritual side of it can be really beneficial. And always kind of pick my times when I talk about this, depending on the audience, because sometimes it just doesn't land with people. But for me, I had to really take on this spiritual kind of guide and vision for this, because the only way that I could stop people pleasing, yes, look at my fears of rejection, all that sort of stuff, but was to actually let go and just let go and just let the situation turn out to be whatever it's going to be, whether they stay or go, whether it gets turbulent or not, like, and just let it play out. Whereas if you're a people pleaser, you don't want that. You don't want conflict, right? So anything to just keep the peace.
Yeah.
So yeah, I became quite spiritual in the process, because that was a lot of my journaling, like just let it be what it's going to be, without, again, a control thing. If you're somebody that's into the controlling of the food, you want to control your relationships. Like I had the realization I'd spent years trying to control these relationships so that I was still important to them, right?
Elle, everything you said literally in the past 15 minutes, I've literally been like, me too, me too, me too, me too. Like I went really spiritual for
Yeah,
my healing. I went,
yeah,
like, I won't lie, I've lost it a little bit. It's come back since I've slowed down a bit, which I'm sure we'll go on to. but I was like in on the journaling. I created my own journal. I don't know, some people watching this might have even bought them off me back in the day. I was doing angel cards, I was doing tarot, I was watching tarot on YouTube. It probably did become a slightly new obsession, but
Mhm.
it gave me hope, and it gave me, I guess, like expansion, right? Of
Mm,
like you're where you're like, oh, there is actually so much more to the world. And like what you were saying about the like just let it be. I had an affirmation of just today. So
mm,
just today, I was just going to show up for myself. Just today, I was going to eat carbs. Just today, I was going to not do a HIIT workout. Like,
mm,
just today, I was maybe going to take a nap. Those sorts of things that, like, and that sort of staying present and just trying to like let it go really,
mm.
really helped me. Do you when you work with clients then, does that tend to be something that you sort of touch on?
Yeah, it depends on the client. So, if I've got somebody who is really just pessimistic about it, the worst thing is going to be me sitting there going, okay, visualize
Yeah.
you. But what I've seen is some really beautiful transformations with me, almost implementing spirituality with them in such a small way that they don't realize it's happening, but they've really enjoyed it. So they've been like afterwards, oh, actually, that wasn't as like woo woo as I thought it was going to be. Like, for example, affirmations. I've had so many clients that are like, affirmations are woo woo, I'm not doing them. And anyway, after whatever amount of time working together, they're like, actually, I'm really enjoying them and I'm really think they're making a difference. Um, and so, but yeah, I mean, some people it's just a no-go, and that's also fine. It's our brains are also different. Like, one of my clients was a scientist, and it was just like, she needs numbers, she needs facts, she needs this, she doesn't need trust the process. In fact, it's actually just going to be like really like,
Oh my God. Yeah. I found this even when working with medical professionals in terms of like me, whether that's like me interviewing them or like them, like me collaborating with them. So me working sort of like with them from like a coaching perspective. They like to keep to the facts. Don't
yeah,
don't talk about moons.
yeah,
Don't talk about like signs from the universe. Just keep to the facts. And I guess that is why, as well, disordered eating and sort of, I like how you described it as like like dissatisfaction rather than just blanket body dysmorphia.
yeah,
Um, why all of this is so complicated, isn't it? Because you can't just download a book and then just get over it, because it's going to be different for absolutely everyone.
yeah,
Apart from
yeah.
me and you, who seem to have had exactly the same journey.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's so different for everybody, and that's why there is actually so many therapies to, if someone listening to this is like, I actually think I have disordered eating or eating disorders, and I want to stop it, then there's so many different types of therapies now. Not they're all reasonably new. So like, people have got talk therapy and CBT therapy, but there's extensions of these now, and there's lots of different ways to work with individuals depending again on how they're going to receive it and how they're going to work best. I know some people that talk therapy is just a no, whereas like CBT or something else, or works better. So
Do you
when
know
you
what
try,
I like? I
what
like
do you
the intense. I'm
you like
like,
what?
I want intense. I want like, give me hypnotherapy and send me somewhere else. Or like, what's the like rapid,
Rapid
like,
eye movement,
I want that
EMDR.
one next. Yeah, I've been looking into that and I'm like, that sounds intense. Give me that.
Yeah, so EMDR is amazing. I've had quite a few clients that have had amazing results on that. I know a fantastic therapist who does that, so I will give you recommendations of him. But that's supposed to be really successful as well with disordered eating. I do hypnotherapy, so I work with clients with hypnotherapy, and the reason I trained in it is because that was um, one of my parts that really helped me when I was coming out of this. So I obviously did all my own work on myself, but also hypnotherapy and like quite a lot of NLP, like rewiring of the brain,
Talk to
and
us about that. What's NLP?
NLP, neuro linguistic programming. So it's
What
really
what would that
looking.
look like?
So that is looking at your, I mean, it's there's huge, it's so much under that umbrella, but just in a little nutshell, like where you can connect it to maybe like disordered eating is looking at like thinking styles. So how you like extreme thinking, black and white thinking, catastrophizing thinking, looking at your limited beliefs, which there's many when you're struggling with body image and disordered eating. So it's really reprogramming the brain, which again for me, so affirmations kind of falls under this as well. So for me, the reprogramming of the brain was hugely successful for me, and it is for a lot of people I work with too.
How do they go about reprogramming?
Okay, so the key, and this sounds really simple, is to become super aware, right? You've got to be aware of what's actually going up here in order to change it. I mean, you don't like, there are things you can still do not being aware, but you're going to get much faster results if you are aware. And now that sounds really simple, but actually, not that many people can do this consistently. So when I say being aware, I don't mean listening to this and then going, oh, okay, awareness of myself, I'll be more aware. Like you need to do it as a daily practice, but several times a day. So I will work with my clients in a way that actually they are stopping maybe 3-4 times a day, sitting and actually like following through with the tools or the tasks I've asked them to do. So bringing awareness to self and listening to what's being said, because in here to yourself. And that's when you start to understand, oh, hold on a minute, maybe actually I don't believe I'm worthy of recovery because this is what I'm keep saying to myself.
Okay, yeah. So it would be like if I've had to move a meeting, it would be like, okay, what? Oh God, I'm lazy. Oh God, I'm going to lose that opportunity because I've had to move that meeting.
Perfect. Yeah. So then it's
That might
reprogramming.
have happened today. That might not have done.
And then reprogramming the brain so that next time you have to move a meeting, that doesn't even come up. It's just
Yeah.
like, I need to move a meeting, rather than the whole, I'm lazy, I'm not unprofessional, I'm this, I'm that, whatever, you know.
Yeah, not good enough. Which I guess even me just touching on that bit about laziness, I do want to touch on burnout.
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
So we've chatted personally about this. I'm still coming to terms with it. I won't lie, it still feels really alien to me. And and I think it was actually speaking to you that I think you're the one that labeled it as burnout. So to give everyone a quick lowdown, in December, I just started culling. I own another company called Chloe and Co Media, and I just started culling contracts. I don't know where it came from, but I was just like, I don't want to work with them anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I just started culling and culling and culling. And now I've got a very small group of clients that I work with, and I do enjoy that work, but I've never been in that position. And still, like, I even text my mum today, like, Mum, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't want to work. Now, caveat, I I do want to, like, this is my work as well, and I love this bit. Like, there is no way I would have cancelled this. Like, this sort of thing is just fills me up. But it doesn't bring me in the bill paying.
Mm-hmm.
But any sort of like I guess, how do I describe it? I guess like just how I used to work just doesn't work for me now, and that still feels so alien to me. And it was when I chatted to you on a couple of weeks ago, and you were like, "Oh yeah, that's burnout,"
Yeah.
and you've experienced similar, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And really recently as well, like you, like so November, I ended up becoming really unwell. I was in bed for 5 days with like well, they think it was like a really bad bug. I had like the whole DMV, but I had the most horrific cramps in my stomach for 5 days. Like it was just unbearable. I couldn't even sleep. Ended up going into hospital, and there was actually not a lot they can do. I just needed to ride whatever this was. And then had some tests done, and really suffered with like IBS for quite a while, and just completely lost my mojo. And it's burnout. I know it is, because it wasn't just my body that was in recovery, like my mind was as well. Like things were going on for me that I've never experienced before. Emotions as well, real confusion about what I'm doing in my life, even though on paper, anyone that looks at me will be like, she has got her shit together, right? But I'm there
Literally.
going, who am I? What am I doing? Oh my God. Like, and it was, yeah, I couldn't see the wood from the trees. Small tasks were becoming overwhelming. And actually, what you're talking about is the things I found most joy in, which was client work. I literally used to light me up for years and years, was becoming unenjoyable. And so at the moment, I'm actually not working with clients just to restore my energy. And so then I can come back and give it my, my full force.
Yeah, it's so hard. I just relate so hard to that whole like, who am I? What do I even want to do? I mean, like I'm fortunate that we're in a position where I can pull back and sort of like get my shit together. But there's so many people out there that are experiencing this that don't have that luxury. And, at Elevate Festival, guys, if you don't know, details are down below in the box. It's 13th of June.
13th of June, yeah.
It's a wellness festival in Devon. You'll see Elle and I both there. Elle runs it, so founded it as well. So come along. But I've forgotten the guy that I interviewed last year on the panel. What was his name?
Will.
And he experienced burnout so bad that he ended up hospitalized, and like it was real bad,
Mm,
wasn't it? Real, real bad for him. But
yeah.
often a lot of people don't have, I guess, you and I are self-employed, right? So we can be like, I'm tired, I'm going to cancel that. Or like, we can somehow sort of, we do have a bit more control over our schedule. If people are going through burnout, but they're in like 9 to 5 or, 8 till 8 jobs, they don't have that luxury. So they have to keep going and going and going and going until their body literally says no. And it's so severe, right?
So severe. So Will's a banker in London. He can't not turn up. They're expected in there by 7 a.m. They're there till 7 p.m. Like there's no way he could have been like, ooh, I've got a bit of mental
Yeah.
health today. And so he dropped on the banking floor at work, taken off in an ambulance. And I mean, he was in hospital for 6 months and had half his stomach removed.
That it's just chaos, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, and you just think the world is set up like this, and it's
Yeah.
more, I think as well, since I've become a mum and I've like, I guess when you have a kid, you get open to like this different kind of love. So
Yeah.
like, and it's taken me really, he was like 18 months where I really like leaned into it. I guess at 18 months for me, he became him. Whereas like before, I'm not really into babies. Like
Yeah.
obviously loved him, but like like some people get so much joy holding a newborn. I'm not
Yeah.
really into that. I get so much joy the fact that he's a 2-year-old. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, you're a legend. Let's go have fun.
Yeah.
But it took me like 18 months to kind of accept and be proud of being a mum.
Yes.
It's like I was scared to maybe like lose the coolness, like the youngness and the driven side. And so many people would tell me motherhood changes you, it changes your brain chemistry. And my dad sent me this like women's hour thing on the radio that like literally there's a scientific study that proves that having a baby changes your brain chemistry. It literally like switches it into a more like nurturing state rather than like a driven state. And I was just, yeah, nah, I'll be fine. I'll keep going. And it's so strange that now I'm here. Like I said earlier, like I'm still really struggling to come to terms with the fact that I've changed.
Yeah. Mm.
And it does kind of remind me of when I was healing my my relationship with food and like getting my period back, because I also struggled with that identity change. Did Can we talk about identity change and like,
Yeah.
do you struggle with that? Do your clients struggle with that?
Yes, yes, they do then when they start to understand what identity actually is and that it's, shouldn't be a permanent thing, then once you have that understanding that actually you can change your identity, but you can also better your identity, right? So yes, your identity might be clother, hustler with the entrepreneur, etc. You can still have that identity and have many more identities. And actually, we should all have many identities. You should have the identity of mum and fantastic friend and the one who's super fun on the nights out and the fitness, person. So I think what we need to do, and this is what I help my clients with, is actually spreading that identity, like putting more eggs in more baskets as opposed to just all your eggs in this one basket of identity, and trying on other shoes and see how it feels and make that identity work for you. Like, get to a place where you love your identity that is mum and business owner and whatever else you want to add to it.
Yeah. How have you, would you say, are you healed from your burnout now, or are you still in that process? What were those steps from November?
Yeah, I've had to slow down. So we've used the word slow down a lot, but I've had to slow down, and that's exactly what I had to do when I recovered from disordered eating. So I had to literally cancel my diary and like make it number one priority, which is what I've had to do now. I mean, you know, number one priority is usually my 3 children, but then I am like making sure that my self-care is as high as it can be. I've just got rid of stuff that I don't actually need to do, which you know, is just unnecessary, which I think we're quite similar in terms of, I think we do a lot of things. People say to me,
No,
Elle,
I'm
you're doing a
so
lot of
busy.
things.
Yeah, I just don't know if, even if, I got rid of these clients and then thought, brilliant, got this space, let's start these YouTube interviews again. And like, I'm just like, why? I mean, I have to say, this lights me up. Like this, I am loving this. But I often think, like, why can I not just chill? I look at people that watch like reality TV shows for like, or like binge watch TVs, and they complete a series in a day. All right, given we're parents, that isn't a luxury that we can do. But I'm still like, I don't know why I can't just sit. Already I'm like, oh, let's look at this downtime and let's see what other business I can develop.
Yeah. So what do you know what your conditions of worth are?
Talk to me about that.
Oh, big question.
Yeah, right.
But well, firstly, are you neurodivergent, if you're happy to share?
Right. So I've never been diagnosed.
Yeah.
The amount of holistic practitioners that I've worked with, I would say 80% have made that suggestion that I go and get tested. Do you want to know? I'll be honest, the reason why I haven't is just the stigma attached to being tested now.
Yeah.
I'd say
Yeah.
like that whole like, oh, everyone's got ADHD, everyone's got this.
Yeah.
So I actually think that's probably the one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So switch off from everyone else. If you want to do it for you, do it for you. Like I did for me. Like I knew I had ADHD. Like when I used to read, I mean, I took a course in it when I was, that was to do with eating disorders and ADHD and autism about 5 years ago. And I was just literally blown away. And I was like, this, oh my goodness.
I
Like this.
think though for me is I don't resonate with the typical symptoms. So like I wouldn't say I'm hyperactive all the
Yeah.
time and things like that. Do you know what I mean? It's when you look into the other like sort of like locked in like Tom will literally say if he walks in and I'm in like there is no, you can't, I'm gone.
Yeah.
But then at the same time I will be so erratic, or like he sometimes can't deal with my mess, and I'm like, to me that's not mess. I'm going to sort that another day, but I'm going to sort that when I'm able to fixate on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't have the hyperactive. Like people wouldn't look at me and be like, "Well, she's hyperactive." But like, if you are around me and spend time with me, and in my brain, you'd be like, "Oh wow." But that could be. It was back to that question. What did you say? You said
About
conditions of worth. Sorry, that's separate. The neurodivergent thing is separate. I just wondered because we are very similar. We've had so many conversations, and I just feel like we've got similar
yeah.
behaviour going on. But conditions of worth. So like, which, you know, we all have conditions of worth, which is where we grow up thinking or feeling like we may be more worthy under certain conditions. So, for example, if you grew up in a family where mum and dad were presented very well all the time, were in skinnier bodies, were super fit, then maybe your condition of worth is actually you need to look pretty and you need to look good to present yourself. So maybe, I don't know, but like, is your condition of worth, and that's why you can't rest. You have to work hard, be a hard worker,
And I'm the good girl.
and be a good girl.
I'm the good girl of the family. I am the goodest of the good. There's 4 of us. Well, I've got a full brother who's he will happily admit is the rebel of the family.
Yeah.
So then I'm obviously the good girl because he's older than me, so he's causing the chaos, so I'll be the good girl. And then I've got 2 younger half brother and sisters that are like, they're 21 and 23, maybe 20.
Yeah.
And so I'm the like mature good one that's like gets a good job, works hard, you know, got the nice fiance. Like yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
followed me throughout my whole life. So then I think that's also where I struggle, right? Is when when I'm not wanting to work in the way that I used to. I'm like, oh my God, I'm lazy. Oh my God, I'm not like living up to that good girl status.
Mm, yeah. So that would be something, going back to like NLP, that'd be something to like unlearn about what good girl actually means to you, and maybe reframing that good girl, but also learning that you don't have to work. Well, I don't know if it's a working hard thing for you, but like for somebody else, like actually you've got to relearn that, because you can't go through life trying to be perfect or be a hard worker or be resilient, etc. Like you can't. It's exhausting.
Yeah. Well, then it leads to burnout, right? What would you say your story, if you like, that you would tell yourself that led you to burnout? Would that be the hardworking one?
So my conditions of worth, yeah. So I think, yeah. Yeah. My conditions of worth would probably be, I've always been a hard worker. I left school well, I had a job when I was 14. I'm sure
Yeah,
most people.
same. I've
Yeah.
always, but also I've always loved working. Like I
Yeah.
look back at the childhood games, I would be being a teacher. I would be setting up. I used to set up riding schools, but I was the owner of the riding school. So, and
Yeah.
then I would set up once I set up like a garden center, and I would pretend that I was selling my parents' plants to everyone.
Yeah. 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 Entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
I
6 year old talking like, hello, welcome to my garden center.
honestly, I one day I would have to tell you about all the jobs I have done. Is actually quite hilarious. One of them is actually could have gone catastrophically wrong. But like exactly like you, like I actually reminded my friend about 15 years ago, me and my mate just decided to set up a business in our kitchen. We bought the domain and everything. Didn't do anything, like just
Yeah.
stuff like that. Just like constantly like this is this is our thing. This is what we're
I
doing.
was I was 15. I bought the domain name Vous l'avez
Yeah.
because I can't even remember what that stands for now. I was 15 and I was determined I was going to set up my own fashion store.
Yeah. 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 Done it, been there, done it all. I remember I had a house, so split up with the boyfriend that I've been with for like 11 years and moved into my own place. But I was also working between like Exeter and London. So I filled like every single room with extra people, like this like business of like, what they,
Like very,
lodgers and
yeah,
stuff. But
lodging.
like,
Yeah.
just my brain was always like this: how can I maximize this opportunity of my house? If I'm away Monday to Thursday, put someone in there, then someone in there, like just always maximize everything.
Yeah, that is literally me.
And then I would go home to my own house and sit in my bedroom like, why have I got these strangers in my house?
We
But
should
the
have
money's
laughed.
coming in, the money's
But
coming in.
so is that something that did you say NLP could help with?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of
Okay.
things that can help with that. Like NLP is just something that I specialize in, and hypnotherapy. But also, like talk, like even this kind of talk therapy, even a sat with a therapist or anyone or a friend, talking this through and having those realizations of like, oh yes, I used to do that. It comes again, I've said the word before, but awareness, like it just comes to
Yeah.
awareness. But then you do need to take the action afterwards. So like, we're joking about this now, but actually both of us need to take continual action in reducing our workload right now, as funny as some of it
Yeah.
is.
And accepting that like how much you earn doesn't necessarily equate to like how much you're worth and things like that. And I guess yeah, even when it comes to like disordered eating, it's one thing being aware, and I always find with the girls that I've worked with, it's one thing being aware, then it's one thing educating yourself on everything, but then if you don't then follow that up with the action, you're gonna maintain where you are.
Yeah, yeah.
um Oh, I've loved this so much. Let's get in our next one because I feel like we could just keep talking and talking and
Oh yeah, I feel like we could talk about mum life a lot as
yeah.
well. Trials and
Right,
tribulations.
that's two. We've got one. I want to talk more about your book,
Yes.
and then I want another one around mum life because that's a whole bloody different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even things like me asking you what your conditions of worth are, your son is currently like going through that with you. That's the scary bit, right?
What do you mean? Oh
So
my
like,
God, yeah, of course.
yeah,
So
he's
as in,
learning his conditions of worth like as we speak.
Yeah, and do you know what I think his is at the moment? Is if he's funny, he like
Yes.
I think that he fully plays up to being the like
Yeah.
Mr. Cat, and like he's got this like real cackle that I don't think's always genuine, but like
Yeah.
he knows it makes everyone laugh. And
Yeah.
I'm like, he's only 2. So yeah, I think he's learning. If he's the funny joker, he
Yeah.
gets attention and yeah.
And that's it. He'll be like, well, we're joking here, but like he'll be like 40 with a partner in front of him telling them something really serious, and he'll be like, meh.
Yeah.
It's like, but if you'll like me more if I'm funny about it, and their partner's
Yeah.
like, I'm being serious. I need a serious
Yeah.
conversation here. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, totally. Like he, like that situation, that person would end up being the joker in the pack, right? And that would be their identity, that they're the funny one. You know, I'll meet my friend. He's the funny
How
one.
do I not mess him up? That's for a different conversation, isn't it? I think we're all going to always
Yeah,
mess our kids up. We've just got to accept it.
absolutely. Like
Just
it is going to happen. And
yeah.
I'm interested, you know, when my 3 kids are old enough to understand all of this, I will take full responsibility and I will ask them like these questions, and I will be like, well, yeah, because I used to say that to you, so that makes sense, as to like we've got to just, there's nothing we can do about it. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. But as long as we're still working on ourselves, we're aware and then we take action. Elle, thank you
Exactly.
so much.
Thank
I've absolutely loved this. So yeah, guys, if you're watching this, stay tuned because I think you're going to see a bit more of Elle, probably a fair few times. It's actually been even healing for me, and yeah, you've made me very aware. So thank you so much.